Hello, Craig Smith of the Home Education Foundation in Palmerston North, New Zealand. We're talking about how we as parents can educate our children at home, give them a truly full-rounded education, not just schooling as takes place at institutions. No, we can educate our children. Now, sometimes people ask a question about their home education program. Should we have a graduation ceremony? Well, folks, that's completely up to you. That seems to be a fairly strong holdover from the American system, having this whole end-of-year graduation ceremony where you get to walk on the stage. You've got the mortarboard with the tassel, and you've got the robes, and you get to walk across the stage, shake somebody's hand, and receive a diploma. Hey, if that's important to you, you want to organize one of those, why not? It's kind of fun. But at the end of the day, what does it really commemorate? You've done your time, kind of thing, maybe. Your children's something worth far more than that diploma is going to be their reputation, which will precede them. Their reputation as being respectful, honest, hard-working young people, with, especially if you build into your children a work ethic that glows in the dark. They will be known in the community. They will be known further afield, and their reputation will precede them. You won't have to worry too much when you're filling out CVs and stuff, sending them around. A few little bits and pieces might be fun to put in there. And you can make up your own certificates of accomplishment. My goodness, I used to put some up with our children. You know, big fancy scroll. You can download forms like this from the internet. Really fancy scroll work. Certificate of achievement presented to Zachariah Smith, who has demonstrated competence in both the philosophy and the practice of washing dishes. I remember I did that. And my son had to demonstrate to me that he had a philosophy of washing dishes, and then he had to demonstrate that he had the practice of washing dishes. And when he did, I filled out this diploma for him, or certificate of accomplishment. Signed it on the bottom. It looked real official. You might laugh, washing dishes. Well, you know, any prospective employer who looked at that would see that the guy wasn't just shown the kitchen and said wash the dishes. He had to demonstrate that there was a philosophy about washing dishes, and he had to demonstrate that there's also a practice. And so it was an impressive piece of paper to stick in his CV, I believe. And so we can have that same kind of thing. I mean, we can each make up our own sets if we want to do that. The philosophy and practice of washing a car. The philosophy and practice of vacuuming the house. Making the bed. You know, you can have all those kind of things. And when they're in your child's CV, it demonstrates to the reader, whoever that might be, the prospective employer, that this young person has not just been expected to pick stuff up on the backstroke, but has actually been instructed in both the philosophy and the practice of these essential skills. So he's learned. This young person before him is probably, the employer will say, is probably used to taking instructions, is probably used to being told to do it again. And so the employer will like that kind of thing. And of course, one of the best things you want to do is help organize for your children interviews with prospective employers. I mean, we all know where our good jobs come from. It's our first jobs. And how do we get our first jobs? Well, you know, mom and dad pull strings, right? You've got a friend, or you've got a relative or a neighbor up the road, and you pull strings, and the neighbor organizes your young person to have a job. Man, that's great. And so especially when you're sitting down for an interview, teach them the simple interview skills. This goes a long way. My son got into university this way. I said, look, he was sick and tired of doing correspondence school courses. They weren't going anywhere. And so he decided he was going to go talk to the admissions officer. I said, right. So Zach, I said, here's what you want to do. It wouldn't hurt to slip on a tie. So he slipped on a tie, he shaved. And I said, you know, it wouldn't hurt to splash on a bit of the old sweet smell. That's always a nice idea. When you go in there, if it's a male who's the admissions officer, you look him straight in the eye, you get his name right, and you put the hand out there and you give him a bone crusher. A solid handshake. Don't mess around. If it's a female, you look her in the eye, but you don't offer your hand. You wait for her to offer her hand, and then you take it gently, firmly. Don't give it a bone crusher, not to a female. No, no, no. Be gentle. But again, speak directly and honestly and straightforward, and don't mess around. Know exactly what you want to say. Say it and get out. Don't waste their time. So that's how Zach got into university. He just went and talked to the admissions officer, gave him the bone crusher, told him, I want this course, and this is why I want this course, and this is why you need me in this course. And the guy was impressed and let him in, took a chance, didn't have the qualifications, had no pieces of paper from high school or anywhere. But he said, you've been home educated yet? So I know how to study. He just told him, I know how to study, I'll do fine. Well, he did. He got it was really funny when he came home with his first assignment, an essay. He said, oh, Dad, I can't do this. You've never prepared me for this. There's my essay. There's my first draft. But I don't know how to do this. It's too hard for me. You failed me, Dad. And then I failed you? Wow, what kind of talk is that? And that was the first time I ever had a little flicker of doubt about home education, when my son said I failed him. Well, I picked up his essay. I had to read through it, and it was a pretty good essay. I didn't tell him that, though. I said, yeah, you need to tidy up the logic here and the order of these paragraphs. But I think he'll do okay. Well, he tidied it up. He spent a bit more time polishing this essay, and he got an A+ on that essay. And at the end of the year, he tied with another girl in the class. This is at Massey University, Principles of Logistics, part of the Bachelor of Defense Studies program. And at the end of the year, he tied with another girl for first place in the whole class. And she and he would be racing each other to see who was going to get the next A+ in their essays. And it turned out, when he and her got first place, turned out she was also a home-educated girl from Blenheim. That was the icing on the cake. So the top two in the class were both home educators from out of town. And that was really nice. So you don't have to worry about it. Your children will do just fine. Thank you very much.